Patreon. Sue Berryhill asked about moving quietly and walking while keeping your noise down. How to, oh Mr. Bear, Bear. I'm pretty sure those were her exact words. And I actually asked my wife recently, I said, you know, babe, the internet thinks that I walk with a limp. Do I walk with a limp? And she said, no, you don't walk with a limp. You're just so, your upper chest is so big that it's like exaggerated when you walk, and that I walk like a giant or something to that effect. So yeah, there you go. I don't have a limp. So let's say you're gonna go walk around in that. How should you do that? Well, I have some notes. First, let's talk about battle rattle. What's battle rattle? That's all the stuff that you usually have on you, or I usually have on me. I don't know if you do, but it makes noise when you move around. It should make as little noise as possible. You know, the old oil your gun belt, police officers, you know, the old leather belts would squeak, right? You could give your position away. It's kind of the same thing. Your battle rattle should be as secure as possible. That when I'm shaking my hips right now, you do this, it doesn't make a whole bunch of noise. I have a gun belt on and there's stuff on it. We'll talk about that in another video at another time. What's your current loadout, T? Well, I have a flashlight, I have a Glock 45, I have 2 spare magazines, I have 2 30-round AR magazines, I have an IFAK, I have shears, I have a cat tourniquet, 14 gauge decompression needle, a 2-way radio, a fixed blade knife. I don't remember what else. Like, it matters, but it doesn't matter. Like, I have the stuff. I have the things that I need, like the triumphant return of the Rat 3. Anyway, that's not what we're here about. But I have a very good, comprehensive belt on right now. But that stuff, as you walk around, shouldn't rattle. It's also important as you're walking around, and I was talking about this with some brothers recently, you should know what your interferences are. If I wear this thing this way, I can't draw my sidearm and present it. That's a problem. Or whatever. I'm gonna put this pouch here, but when I put that pouch here, then I can't grab this thing when I do this thing with that thing. And that comes from running your gear. Now here I am in dry pine needles. So let's talk about foot placement and stepping styles. Foot placement matters. That's a big part of walking quietly. And also the speed with which you're walking, matters a great deal. Generally speaking, the faster you go, the harder it is to be quiet. But if I'm walking in dry pine needles like this, here's me, I don't know if you guys can hear this or not. This is me just walking. I'm not paying any attention. Now if I slow down, okay, in fact, here, I'll turn this around. Okay, here's my big old bare feet. Here are pine needles. Now, this is just walking. Y'all have motion sickness? Cool. Now if I'm paying attention, I can choose where I step and step more slowly, and much less of a problem, much less noise. Now I also, this is important, I put my heel down, roll, come to toe. Heel first, roll, come to toe. Okay, it's not just, it's not that. Heel, roll, toe. And so as I'm doing that, it actually starts with a very small amount of surface area contact between my foot and the ground, so that I'm not thudding into the ground, and I am spreading out the contact of my foot over a greater period of time. Like, it's not all boom, one shot. It's heel, roll, toe. Heel, roll, toe. Okay. Everybody have, yeah, I got big legs and these are big boots. Let me flip this around. This is the greatest piece of cinematography that has ever been produced. Believe me, it's all the Tremenduses, all of them, every one of them, A to Z. A Mendes, B Mendes, K Mendes, D Mendes, E Mendes, F Mendes, it's all of it. All the way to Z Mendes. All right, the best footage, tremendous. Foot placement and stepping style, speed versus sound, we talked about that. The faster you go, the harder it is to be quiet. If you're at an all-out run, good luck. Okay, moving in the wind and rain. Moving in the wind and rain is your friend because they make noise, and the more noise they make, the more they cover the noise that you're making while you're moving. Now, if you're hunting, wind isn't necessarily good for you because it can blow your scent all over the place. If you're stalking, you know, like, we'll just say pests, varmints. I feel like you need to say varmints like this. Well, varmints. If you're stalking the varmints, then the wind is, generally speaking, fine. Now, if you smoke a lot of cigarettes, chew a lot of gum, or spray a lot of Axe body spray all over you, the wind can still work against you because if somebody has a keen nose, they'll pick up on your scent. But anything that makes noise while you're moving is your friend. So you can use the movement of vehicles to cover your sound as well, right? You're gonna make some noise. The less you make, the better. I had a girlfriend whose dad was a special forces operator, and it's the only man I ever met who could run water and make coffee and not make a sound. He would run water at a sink. Nothing, no noise whatsoever. And literally, it would not surprise me if I turned around and he was right there. It's just that's how he rolled. It's just what he did. And it got to the point where, like, I guess there's still a part of me that just always expects that he's there. It's like, oh, hey, you. Like, he was that good. He'd walk up right behind you and you'd have no idea he was there. The man made no noise. Ever. Like, ever. So some people are obviously better at it than others. But if you can use the sound of things going on around you, rain, wind, vehicles, other people moving, animals moving, whatever you got to mask your sound, go for it. Moving in water. So walking through water makes a lot of noise if the water's still. If the water's moving at a good clip, you can cover that. But again, you don't want to just plunk your foot right down into it. And heel first isn't really the best way to go. It's toe first, then slide in, then set down. Over and over and over again. You're gonna, like, your feet and your legs and your calves are not gonna be happy with you for a while until you get good at doing this, because you'll find there's all these little micro muscle groups that you didn't know existed that all of a sudden are throbbing because you're practicing walking this way. Now, once you get all the way in the water, you can move around, you know, at least to about your hips. Now you can move around a lot more expediently without making a lot of noise. But just to trek through water, you know, if you're being tracked by that guy on a horse that tracks all those fugitive people or whatever, I forget his name. He's wrote a lot of, Dan Brown, is that his name, Dan Brown? No, that's the guy that wrote the Da Vinci Code. Anyway, guys wrote a lot of books. Tom Brown. Is it Tom Brown? I think it's Tom Brown. Catch me in the comments. You guys know the drill. I think, yeah, Tom Brown. Brain fart. That guy. If that guy's on a horse chasing you and you decide, I'm going to get into a stream or a creek and walk down the middle of it so that they lose my trail, that's cool, unless they have a visual on you. Or you're making a whole hell of a lot of noise by trying to run down the middle of a creek. That makes noise, so that's something to be aware of as well. You should wear appropriate footwear that's not clunky. There are some people that wear shoes that I can hear them walking all the time. it drives me crazy. My eldest daughter is one of them. It's kind of like nails on a chalkboard to me. Because I'm kind of a loud, boisterous guy, and I tend to take up a lot of space, and when I'm there, people know I'm there. But when I'm not there, or I don't want you to know I'm there, I can be really quiet. I can shut it down. And so, noise discipline can be very big for me, and when people transgress that, oh, it's nails on a chalkboard. And my daughter's oblivious, my eldest daughter. She just wears the clunkiest, the loudest, most just ridiculous footwear. Like, it's completely impractical. And I guess that's, you know, women in general, I'm generalizing, so everybody simmer down, y'all make some terrible footwear choices. So get you a nice pair of Merrells and practice heel to toe walking while rolling your feet. Watch where you step and what you walk through. That's another huge thing. Like, well, we'll go over here. Y'all motion sick yet? So, what you wear and what you walk through. Your clothes shouldn't make a whole bunch of noise. There's a lot of clothes, like this is cotton. Cotton kills, T, you're gonna die. It's like 48 degrees out here. I'm fine, and I'm dry, okay? So, there's a lot of clothing that's like sounds like tissue paper almost, like sounds like this every time you move in it. Hear that? That drives me crazy. It's like, what are you doing, man? Stop. Well, I like this coat. I don't. Stop wearing that. And also, so clothing makes noise. Be cognizant of that, right? And then watch what you walk through. Like, we're gonna walk through this little thicket right here. I guess you guys can maybe hear this, but oh, something just bit me. Something just jumped right up and bit me. So if you're walking through like brambles and brush and stuff like that, as it scrapes against you, that makes lots of noise. Flip side of that, well, and it also, people would say, well, it covers your trail. Yeah, unless you're like a hunter and you can see a trail back through something. It's pretty obvious in tall grass and brambles and thicket when somebody's come through it, if you know what to look for. So it's really not a great idea unless you have to, regardless, says me. If you absolutely have to, yeah, go for it. But I can tell for days in my hayfield this time of year when something has walked through it and cut a trail in. For days. So, and it's noisy too. Keep your breathing under control. You don't want to I can hear you hundreds of yards away on a still day if you're doing that. Whispering, by the way, the average spoken voice carries about 100 yards. A whisper carries 80 yards. So it's not that much quieter. It's sound in general that's the issue. The decibels matter, but a whisper on a still day will carry 80 yards, where generally the spoken word is about 100 yards. And I'm convinced I can yell from here to Scotland. I just can. I just have the pipes on me, right? Which is, again, when I want to be loud, I can be loud. I mean, I could legitimately yell. I know for a fact I can yell to 300 points from here without a problem. 300 yards that way, because I've done it and had my kids hear me. And they're kids, they don't listen to anything, and they're like, oh crap, Dad's calling for me. So that's good. I like it when you yell like so intensely that everything stops, like the world just stops spinning for a minute and people are like, what the was that? Oh, it's just T, he's mad about something. So, but even a whisper carries 80 yards, so be aware of that. Keep your breathing under control. We talked about that. Be still when necessary. If there's light and variable winds, only move when the wind's blowing, if you can, because that sound will cover your noise. If there are vehicles coming down this road, move as the vehicles are coming, because that sound, and again, you know, use your brain. If it's tactically advisable, move when there's sound to cover your sound. If it's not, don't, but move when necessary. And then lastly, but not leastly, empty your bladder before you go about moving. Because again, you know, somebody who knows what the deal is can track that, but also, I can hear you peeing, man. If I want to, if I'm switched on, like if I know the game is afoot and I'm switched on, these are all just things that inform me as to your location, to the fact that you exist. So, Sue Berryhill, moving quietly and keeping noise down. I hope that helps. Mostly what I would advise you to do here is watch where you step, move slowly and deliberately, look where you're moving, not constantly where you're looking, but usually it's down, up, scan, you know, look where you're putting your feet, look up, scan, look up, look down, come back, scan, look ahead, come back down. And your head, I mean, for me, is constantly moving. When I'm moving around, you don't want to just be walking with your head straight down, because then that's kind of reminiscent of like the people who have their iPhones just you don't want to be that person, okay? Whether you're carrying a ruck and a rifle or not. But move deliberately, watch where you put your feet, and work on rolling your feet heel first, outside edge to toe, and then lift off heel first, toe last. So it's just kind of a, looks like a combination of like a knife hand and a beautiful dolphin swimming in the ocean. What are dolphins? What noise do they make? I can't do it. They do like a snickering kind of thing. I'm not a good snickerer. We'll substitute a caw-caw. Now think about dolphins caw-cawing while knife handing people. So Sue Berryhill, I hope that helps. Shalom, sister.